there, let's get started on our very easy bar stitch baby blanket. This is also the same size for a throw. You can make it any size you want to because you're just going to chain any multiple of 3. I chained 93 for this blanket. Make it just a little bit wider than you want your blanket to be. And this is Bernat Forever Fleece. Super soft, super bulky size 6 yarn in patchouli, winter waves, and white noise. If you want a little bit of a lighter color than this winter waves, which is a very taupey gray with a little lavender tint, you could go with balsam, which is a light beige, or if you really wanted to go lavender, go with, they have a color called lavender. A little bit darker than that is juniper. So lots of choices. I just thought these looked really nice together. So you have your multiple of 3 in your initial chain, and in the second chain from the hook, and I like to go on the back bump, you're just going to make single crochet, and we're going to make single crochet all the way across. And again, I like to go on the back bump, and all that is you see your chain in the front, turn it over, and that's your back bump right there, that little horizontal bar. It just makes for a really nice finish on your initial edge. So single crochet all the way across, and I'll join you at the end of my row. All right, at the end of row 1, chain 1, turn. In the very first stitch, single crochet, and you're going to again single crochet all the way across. This is just getting our foundation so that we can come down and make our first bar stitch. After that, you're just going to be working into each front post double crochet. It gets very, very easy. So just single crochet all the way across. When you get to the end, chain 1 and turn, and I will join you there. Oops. Okay, row 3. This is where you're going to start seeing the bars. I already did my chain 1 and turned, so 2 single crochet, 1, 2. You're always going to go into that very first stitch. Now count 3 single crochets over on your bottom here. So 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, come behind that single crochet. That's your very first row. Come through, pull that up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's your first front post double crochet. From now on, you'll be working into this front post double crochet. All right, now make sure that you skip this stitch, go into, because that goes with this front post double crochet, go into the next stitch, 1, 2, single crochet. Now come down here, make sure you skip 2, come into this third, yarn over, come behind it, push it forward. That's what makes it front post, because you're pushing it to the front. Pull that up even with the other loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. See how you're starting to make your bars? It's going to be really pretty. So turn it over. Make sure you're skipping just the 1 stitch. You'll want to keep checking that as you go along with your pattern. 1, 2 single crochet, skip 2 down here, go into the third, yarn over, go behind, push it forward, push it to the front, front post double crochet, Make sure you're pulling those loops up even with the others as well so that it doesn't pull. It doesn't pucker. All right, skip that. Go into the next two with single crochet. 1, 2. Skip these 2, single crochet in the first row, yarn over, go behind that 3rd single crochet, pull your loop up even with the others, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And you should have 2 stitches left. Skip this one. 1, 2. You begin your row with 2 single crochet and you end your row with 2 single crochet on this part of your pattern. Chain 1. Each stripe is going to have 8 rows. Go into that very first stitch, and this is all single crochet all the way across. Obviously your row is going to be much wider than mine. This is just my sample. I don't usually do a crochet along because I'm not always sure how it's going to end up. Sometimes I change my mind midway through. So I want to make sure I make the whole blanket before I show you how. So I think a sample size is perfect. Chain 1, turn. Now it gets really easy, really, really easy. Single crochet into that very first stitch. So 2 single crochet. Come down to this front post single crochet. You're going to go right into it, right under there. Push it to the front. Pull your loop up. Pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. There's your bar. Same thing, come back behind here. Make sure that you're skipping that stitch behind your front post double crochet. As long as you do that, you'll be right on track. 1, 2 single crochet, yarn over. Super simple. Find your front post double crochet, go right into that, pull your loop up, and a double crochet. Make sure that you skip that stitch. 1, 2 single crochet, easy peasy, yarn over, push that to the front, pull your loop up, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So continue that all the way across your row and chain 1. Come back with a single crochet. I'll meet you after the end of that single crochet row. All right, I made all my single crochets. Chain 1, and I came back. This is going to be our row 7. The very first stripe is different from the others because we had 2 rows of single crochet down here, so we had something to work our front post double crochet into. This stripe is only going to have 3 vertical front post double crochets. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's do our 2 single crochet, yarn over. Let's come down into this, go behind that bar, pull your loops up, come through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, instead of having to count 8 rows, which is a little hard with the single crochets, you can do it. 1, 2, 3, count the little legs, 4, 5, 6. We're on our 7th row. The 8th row is always going to be your single crochet row coming back. But this is how I count them. Like I said, this very first stripe is only going to have 3 of the vertical front post double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. And when I come back, I'm going to change colors. So continue this. Again, make sure you skip 1, 2 single crochet. And sometimes it's going to look like that's really far over, but as long as you skipped 1 and did your 2 single crochet, that is correct. You can trust yourself. You can just feel that now. It gets easier and easier. It's really a very easy pattern. Skip that 1, single crochet 2, and your front post double crochet. So you see you have 1, 2, 3, only on this first stripe. Continue to the end, then chain 1, come back with all your single crochet, but when you get to the very last single crochet, begin the single crochet but don't complete it. I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm at the end of my 8th row. This is where I'm going to change colors, working over to color B, whatever that is for you. Again, I'm saying this is a baby blanket. It's a great floor time blanket because it's so thick and cushy, but it could be a throw. It could be any kind of blanket you want it to be. Let's change color. So you begin your very last single crochet, but don't pull through the last 2 loops. Give yourself a nice, probably about 6 inches or so tail, because you're going to weave that in later. Pull in your color B. For me, it's Winter Waves. Again, give yourself a nice long tail, because I like to pull that tail through my chain 1. It's going to be thick, but I just feel like it helps. Okay, you can pull that down. I also like to now, with this particular pattern, this works well, make yourself a nice tight knot, really tight. We're still going to weave in those ends, but that's going to help keep it together. All right, so I already did my chain 1. I have all that extra bulk there. You're just going to continue this pattern. If you want, you can pull these through over here and come under and work them through, but you don't need to. It's really, really easy to weave in chunky yarn. All right, so just come through here. Very first stitch, single crochet, pull through all that bulk there. And there's your second single crochet. This is where it gets fun. Yarn over, come down into this, behind this front post double crochet, pull your yarn up, pull through 2, pull through 2. Oh, look how pretty that is. Okay, make sure you're skipping that stitch, 2 single crochet, yarn over, come underneath, complete your double crochet, skip that stitch, 2 single crochet, and continue. Now you're going to continue the same pattern. Remember, this added a little bit of bulk, so when you're coming into your first stitch, it's right there. So continue this pattern until you have 4 vertical bars, or your front post double crochet in this color B. When you have your 4 bars, come back with, it's going to be your 8th row of single crochet, and I will join you then and show you how it looks. I know that was row 7. I really don't like counting rows, so this pattern works out really well for me, because I had 1, 2, 3, 4 of my vertical bars. And now all I need to do is come back, just chain 1 and come back with single crochet. Begin a single crochet in the very last stitch, but don't complete it because we're going to switch over to color C. And I'll see you there. Okay, I've reached my last single crochet of the 8th row of my stripe, which I guess would be row 16. Like I said, I'm not really doing a lot of counting. I ended up with 6 stripes of the patchouli, only because I like to end up with the same color that I started with, and 5 stripes each, which is 8 rows of the winter waves and the white noise. Give yourself a long tail, cut. And let's go on to color C, which is my white noise. Give yourself a long tail. I forgot, and I don't even know if this helps that much, but this is what I've been doing. I take the tail of the working color, wrap it around, and then I have my new color with that nice long tail, and I pull that through. I totally forgot about that on the first one. Not sure it helps that much, but it pulls the yarn up a little bit. Again, make sure you have a nice long tail because it shrinks up a little bit when you pull the tail and the working yarn through for your chain 1. There, see how that just kind of completed that single crochet and just made it really nice. I just started doing that for the last couple of blankets. All right, I did my chain 1. I'm going to turn, starting in that very first stitch, single crochet, go through all those thicknesses. I think it does help to make that loop over. Okay, that was 1 single crochet, and 2, make your bar stitch. Make sure you're bringing those loops up so it doesn't get too tight and puckery. And 2, ooh, it's getting dark out. It's gonna rain today, and it's chilly. I'll get out my fire and rain blanket and get the fireplace going. So continue on. And this is your pattern. Okay. I will meet you when we're on the 8th row, that last single crochet row of your color C. So continue on. All right, I'm just about to make my row 8, which I know for sure because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. Chain 1 and turn. I want to show you how I like to attach yarn if you run out of yarn. You shouldn't on these, each of these stripes, the 8 row stripes, actually two stripes is equal to about 1 skein. So you need 3 skeins of the patchouli, and they come in 2 packs, and 2.5 of each of the other colors. So I'm just going to pretend that, oh, I'm about to run out of yarn. Oh no, look at that. So here's how I like to do it. I take my new yarn, I take my old yarn, bring it through, so you have a loop, kind of a nice long, doesn't have to be that long, but well, let's see. Okay. Anyway, see how you've looped it together? Make your next stitch, just take both pieces of that yarn, come through. It eats up this yarn really quickly, and make a stitch. It will be a little thicker, but it's not going to show. So here's where you still have it looped through. Go into your next stitch, pull both those loops through, but now you can drop this. And that's going to be a pretty thick stitch, but that's okay. That ended up being above. If you can make it come above your bar stitch, the bulk won't show at all. So then just take that piece that's left, the two pieces there. You can just cut them. They won't come out. Actually, if you have to pull your row out, you'll have a little bit of a tough time getting those out. So just come along, put those underneath, and just whenever you feel like it, you can drop them. This happened to be long enough to go the whole row, but I'm not going to. You can cut them now if you want to. You can tie them together. You just don't need to, but you can for extra security. Come along and finish your row 8 here. You probably won't run into that problem, but just in case you do, I thought I'd throw that in. It did add a little bit of bulk, but nothing terrible. Be careful not to cut your crochet stitches. See? All right. Now that last row, when you end up, whatever color you end up with, I just like to end on the same color I started with. But it gives you a nice edge. So it's a nice finished look there. You don't need a border for this at all. Excuse me, the edges are nice and even. And this is how it looks on the back. It doesn't grow as quickly as some of my other blankets because a single crochet is a very short stitch. But it's a nice thick dense stitch, and that's what I wanted for this. I wanted it to be super cushy and thick. If you want to let a baby have floor time, tummy time, it makes a nice pad or just a nice warm blanket. I think it looks really nice on this side as well, but obviously this is what you would consider the right side. So whenever you finish your last row, you can just make a chain and pull it through and fasten off. Pull tight. If you want to weave that in, you can. And again, here, it's very, very easy to weave in your ends on this particular pattern, and also with the chunky yarn. You can make this pattern in a lighter weight yarn with a smaller hook. It's still going to be, let's come through these tunnels here. It's still going to be, there we go, the same pattern. You just need to make it as wide as you want it to be, and whatever hook that they recommend for the size yarn. Just find your tunnels, come through, come back through. I like to avoid the edge so the edge doesn't end up being too bulky and hard. And then maybe just one more time. I do try to catch in between a stitch. Don't know if that really makes a difference, but I was taught to do that, so that's how I do it. Again, pull so that you don't have to come too close to your crochet stitch so that when you pull it back through, it's going to hide it in there. So continue. Just come on through, weave in your ends, and that's that. It doesn't matter which is the top edge or which is the bottom edge. I really hope you enjoyed this. I did. I thought it was nice and easy because I didn't have to keep counting my rows. I just had to keep counting my bars. It's incredibly soft and cushy and thick. Hey, if you like it, please give me a comment, hit the like button, subscribe. If you hit the notification button, you'll be notified every time I have another new free pattern. It's also available on my website at i-crochet.com.